What happens when the person in the pulpit believes something completely different than the person in the pew? Well, that is a real deal predicament, and today we're diving into the great disconnect in mainline Christianity. And trust me, my buddy, Ryan Burge, he brought the graphs. So this was recorded live with members of my Substack, Process This, and Ryan Burge's graphs about religion. We had a good time digging in to just what's going on in the disconnect between the pulpit and the pew and mainline Christianity, how the theological and political visions are so far apart, whether that trend's increasing or decreasing, and he brought some brand new graphs that haven't even been revealed on his Substack yet. I hope you enjoy this conversation, but we want you to feel the lure. That's right, to join us this January in a brand new open online class here at Homebrewed Christianity called The Rise of the Nuns, 100 Million Americans Beyond Religion. That's right, not the N-U-N, but the N-O-N-E-S, Nuns. It's a 4-week online course for leaders navigating a changing spiritual landscape, or questers hoping to understand just who it is that are in these 100 million nuns, or maybe to learn a little bit from the first giant social scientific study of the nuns. Ryan Burge, joined by friend of the pod, Tony Jones, have a giant grant they've been using to do the largest and most in-depth study of the nuns. They've created a kind of typology for understanding and navigating the different members of it, and we'll be exploring their research, looking to understand with the changing nature in American religion. Whether it's the nuns in name only, the spiritual but not the religious, the zealous secularist, there's a host of different ways people find their way forward in this, and some surprising results that, whether you're a faith leader, a religious quester, or somewhere in between, we think you're going to find interesting. We're also going to be joined by some surprise guests, like our friend Sarah Lane Ritchie. Anyway, you get the idea. So come on over. Use the link in this episode description. Join the class. You could donate or tip. I think that's what Donald Trump wants us to say. And then it's tax deductible. Oh man, what a world. Anyway, enjoy the conversation. Oh yeah. What is up, everybody? This is Trip. I'm with my buddy Ryan Burge. We got hot takes and graphs about religion. And today we're talking about the great gift. Jeez,
Come on, you stepped on it.
I know. We're talking about the great disconnect, about that gap between the pulpit and the pews.
Oh, you said pulpit. You said pulpit.
Pulpit.
The pulpit. Love that.
Pulpit and the pews.
That's right. Well done.
The clergy and the congregation.
Mm-hmm.
The ordained and the not.
There could be not ordained people in the congregation and ordained, you know what I mean? Like, come on.
Yeah, I know. Sorry. I was just, whatever. I guess I'll have to ask ChatGPT for 4 other examples of alliterating, combinations between pulpit and pew.
My 11-year-old asked ChatGPT for D's nuts jokes last week.
Yeah, well, don't worry. When he's 13, he won't need to ask ChatGPT. Those things just start flying.
And then the funny thing, he would read one to me and mess up the word, so it wasn't even funny at all. It was the best.
You got to show him the YouTube video of that kid that registered to run for president as the name D's Nuts. And it was on their local news show, and it is so funny.
I don't care how old I am or mature I am. D's Nuts is funny. Period.
Says every guy that graduated high school in the year 2000.
Absolutely. And then my wife is just rolling her eyes so hard, like she's going to fall over. And I'm like, no. You got to let this play out. Okay. Just get it out of their system now. Cause you got to.
Oh man. Elgin, our 18-year-old, regularly comments that his humor has matured past mine.
What is that supposed to mean?
That, when his younger siblings make similar jokes, I laugh at them and he looks at me like, why are you encouraging this?
Dude. Farts are funny. D's nuts jokes are funny. Your mom jokes are funny. I don't care what anybody says. My humor is trapped in 2002, and I will leave it there for the rest of my life.
Praise be. Which is a year before we could drink. So,
Maybe you couldn't.
Wow, you were the wrong kind of a wet Baptist that drank early.
I didn't drink. I went to Canada when I was 19 and drank, though, because it was legal there.
Oh, Well, it's really important to obey laws. So
That's right.
Romans 13 and stuff.
Hit me with a graph, for God's
All right,
sake.
here we go. Here we go. Boom.
There's nothing there.
Oh, yeah, that's the prep slide. I was just
Okay, friends, Romans countrymen. Guess what this is, Trip? This is the future of American religion in one single graph. It's the age. Now, this is adults. Okay, let's be very clear about that. I cannot get the age, like what percentage of each denomination is kids, because unless they give it to me, I don't have it. And I can't poll kids because, oh my God in heaven, that would be a problem. Like
you'd have to start polling on Roblox.
Yeah, I'm sure Wash U's IRB department would love that. Okay. You don't realize how hard it is to get stuff through IRB, folks. It's impossible. Even like very basic stuff is impossible to get through IRB. So we ain't polling no kids. So this is adults. And guess who is the oldest denomination in America?
Tech.
The Episcopal, not ECUSA. They don't call themselves that anymore. It's TEC now. The Episcopal Church. 22% are 75 and above, 41% are. So it's like, what's that? 2/3 of them have seen their 60th birthday, for God's sakes. That's not good.
Well, or they got a higher average lifespan.
They do, but God, Trip, you out know. Even if you live to be 95 doesn't mean you're going to have good 95. You know what I mean? You might be not know where you are at 95. Dementia is a real thing, buddy. So,
I understand.
I'm just saying. Like, look at the top 5. Okay, Episcopalians. Now, Lutheran Missouri Synod is actually an evangelical denomination, but then United Methodist, which that's the flagship main line, and then Presbyterian Church USA main line, and then ELCA main line, and then PCA, which is evangelical, and then United Church of Christ, which is main line. Guess what? The main line is a bunch of old people. I know this is like saying nothing, revelatory at this point, but good gravy. I actually have a post coming in, let's see, January called When's half your congregation going to be dead?
Oh, is that one of those pick me up conversations at your next church council meeting?
Oh my gosh. Well, I just think like my job is to tell you like things are bad, man. And they're going to get worse. And this is a big reason the main line's in a whole lot of trouble is because they're just old and there's hardly any kids. And you got to, just to keep the number flat, you got to replace every death with a new addition. And that's not to raise the number. That's just to keep the boat level. And you and I both know that sure as the world ain't happening in any main line. Even in evangelical traditions aren't doing that right now either.
Yeah. If you did have kids on there, the crazy thing is, we do know the average birth rate based on denominations, right? Like mainline Protestants, there's enough features that signal like a 1.3 average kids versus an evangelical, right?
Yeah, no, mainline birth rates are lower for sure. And mainline retention rates, meaning like you were born into the mainline, you stayed mainline into adulthood, are actually about 25 points lower than evangelical retention rates. So if you have 100 kids in a mainline church, about 40 of them are going to leave the mainline church into adulthood anyway. So your fertility have to go up even higher just to offset the losses from retention.
Yeah. I know quite a few of like the young adults at the mainline Protestant churches I worked at didn't grow up mainline. They grew up evangelical. And then for ethic, like more progressive ethics or whatever, they're like, well, I'm really Christian. Now I'm going to go to this church. And then they get there and they come ask you, the minister, so how many of the people at this church are Christian? Or like, do they read their Bible? Like, these things that they just assume are the case. And
do they read the Bible here? No, dog, we got none of that.
They're like, I'm like, well, I do. I try to read it enough to cover, raise the average.
I'm going to throw some shade right now, but they read the Bible a whole lot more in the mainline church than they do in the Catholic Church.
But what if you count all the Bible passages that are in the liturgy?
That's the only Bible those people hear on a weekly basis.
John Dominic Crossan joked that it wasn't until he was already a priest, and then they were like, "You're really smart. You're going to go do your PhD." And it wasn't until he was like in graduate school for a Bible PhD that he was like, "Oh, that's when I started reading the New Testament in outside the context of prayer books."
Wait a minute. You can just like read this on the side for like fun or entertainment.
He's like, I already knew Greek and Latin because I was a Catholic school in Ireland, so like we already read Virgil, but Matthew on its own, oh,
Funny story. When my wife and I started dating, she's Catholic. I'm Protestant, Southern Baptist growing up. Walked in my bedroom for the first time and I had like a bookshelf and I had like 7 Bibles on it. She goes, "Why you got so many Bibles?" I was like, "How many Bibles you got?" She's like, "1." I go, "Oh." You know what I mean? It's like a commemorative Bible, like my first baptism or communion or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, we're different on these things. Like Baptists are definitely, listen, you can say what you want about Baptists. Baptists really do read the Bible. Like you have to, because you believe in, priesthood of the believer and soul autonomy and all that stuff. You kind of have to read the Bible a little bit more than the main line does.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a good idea to do that.
You should read the Bible, people. Good idea.
All right. So the next one is
Yeah,
the share of each denomination's
Or
adults,
boomers.
the baby boomers.
Yeah. And
This
that's
looks
really
very
like, not to
similar
give away
to
the
the age
post,
gap.
but like the conceit of the post is that like a lot of these churches are being floated through a whole wad of baby boomers, like in this really tight age band, which is fine now because they're still kind of young-ish and spry-ish and can still, like, do the volunteer work and do the donations and do all the stuff that churches need to like maintain themselves. But in the not too distant future, in a 15, 20-year time window, that big, fat part of the distribution is going to age into the nursing home or the funeral home. And there's no one on the backside of that distribution to even come close to replacing all the losses that you're going to see when the baby boomers, we call it the silver tsunami. There's a fancy word for you. You like that, Trip?
Silver tsunami.
Silver tsunami. It's basically the idea that our nursing home system and memory care system is going to be completely overwhelmed by all these boomers, getting dementia and aging into these homes all at one time. And when they go into those homes, they're not coming to church anymore. And then who are you going to have left? Ernest Hemingway is one of his characters in The Sun Also Rises, was asked how he went broke. He said really slowly, then all at once. And that's what's going to happen to the main. Actually, a lot of churches, not just the main line. A lot of churches are just like, oh, we're fine. And then in like a 5-year window, they're going to be very much not fine. And it's going to happen before they really understand what's happening to them. And I guess part of what I do is like, raise the alarm bell and say, this is happening. It's going to happen soon. You're just not ready for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Clergy in the comments. Dave says, I think about that a lot. 5 years from now, I don't know who will be my volunteers.
Yep. I mean, that's a real problem. Most churches are run. I mean, the pastor does do a lot of stuff, but they can't do everything.
Mm-hmm.
You need, like, for instance, like the funeral meal. If someone in your church, passes away and the family wants a meal after the funeral, it's very standard to provide that meal. Who's going to provide that meal when all the people providing the meal now are the ones at the funeral home? So I just don't think churches are fully aware of how fast this is going to happen. All like the sort of secondary effects that they're not thinking about in this change happening so quickly.
Yeah, to me, one of the things, like looking at a lot of this, should suggest you would be, we should reallocate our resources in the present to have less but more vibrant congregations, so that we'll actually do a good job of supporting our large baby boomer collective as they age.
Yep.
And have critical mass for young families and kids. And even crazier, what happens if there's like actual multitude of single adults at a church where they could meet potential partners not on a swiping device?
If I have to swipe on a device to find my partner, I just give up. I'll die alone.
That's what Y2K guys say.
Yeah, because we can. I will say all the time, like, if my wife died, I'd be screwed. I have no idea how to date in 2025. How do you even do it?
I don't know. I've had friends, that divorce and then start telling me about it, and it sounds depressing.
I just get a dog. Just that's my only companion. I don't need to go on Tinder or whatever people do now.
Well, in next week on Theology Nerd Throwdown, when we have our Theology Nerd Hallmark Christmas movie, the main character, one of the main characters, Clayton, who lives in the small town in Canada as a taxidermist, he has a 3-legged toy poodle named Gretzky.
That's a good name.
Yeah, I figure it's very Canadian.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, it's good.
I know. And he goes to a Lutheran church.
ELCA, of course.
whatever I don't know what the Lutheran versions are in
Canada.
Canada.
But the
I doubt they
ELC
have
is huge, like in Minnesota, which is close to Canada, which I would guess kind
I
of
know,
transfers.
but I don't think of Canadians volunteering to join America at their church. You know, like
Yeah.
evangelical Lutheran Church of America, were they the ELAC?
Olka.
Yeah, I don't know.
They should drop evangelical from their name because it's confusing to people.
Oh, yeah. Once a month, someone posts that in like the big ELC clergy Facebook group, and it's hilarious to watch.
Because people get all chuffed.
Yeah.
All heated about that whole conversation.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes when people think, oh, he works at Luther, so he must be Lutheran, so they send me their hot takes about ELCA stuff, and then I have to text one of the deans to ask what I'm being asked my opinion about. And the funniest one, I'm sure you'll believe this, but so okay, every mainline seminary, just like a mainline church, is having the same problems, except as opposed to like, the age of the congregation, it's the age of the students, good jobs for them after they get their degree, all these similar kind of issues. They get this giant grant from like Lilly or something that's working with big congregations. I don't even understand whatever it is. I just got a few emails from people that were mad that I'm supporting Lutheran school partnering with non-Lutheran congregations, and one of them wasn't open and affirming. And like they started telling me this church had this minister there who is friends on Facebook with this guy who's close to being friends with a Christian nationalist. And, it was just like everything a progressive person, they could find a problem with it, and I'm just sitting there going, why am I getting these? I don't even know what this is about. Right. And I like messaged someone at the school.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, we got this big grant, and he's like, it's written to participate with large churches that will be able to work with you to do like, education in a church-based setting and blah, 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 blah. So you need a church big enough, like with staff enough to do the thing. Right. And they're like, how many ELCA churches do you think are that big that will dedicate staff time to helping pioneer like congregations?
Oh, there might be 100 in America total.
Yeah. So anyway, and
that is funny though. Oh, you can't possibly work with a church that's not, of our political tribe, for God's sakes.
I know, because what we know is 100% sure that mainline Protestant churches are just as politically and theologically progressive as their lay people. That is a guaranteed fact that's about to get explored in some of these.
Good. Hey, this is just growth and decline.
Oh, sorry.
You stepped on it.
Set up early. Here's another depressing chart.
Yeah. You like this one, friend. This is hot take. This is new data, by the way. You're going to see this in like a couple of weeks. I think next week, maybe.
The percentage of change in membership since the year 2000 when Ryan and I graduated high school.
You got it. I mean, and the thing is, like, I have 12 denominations here because those are the 12 I could get data on. Like, there's only 3 that have grown, and they're very small. Like, besides the Assemblies of God, that's not small. It's actually fairly large. But the Presbyterian Church in America is about 400,000. Anglican Church North America is about 125,000, and the Assemblies is actually over 3 million. So that's actually a big denomination, and it's growing consistently. I always say, like, the Assemblies of God is the only large denomination in America that is seen sustained growth, over the last 50 years, and they're up 19% since 2000. But you can see, like, the Disciples of Christ is down. This is just in the last 23, 24 years. Disciples of Christ is down 2/3. PCUSA is down over. They're by half, dude. Like, United Methodist down by half. United Church of Christ down by half. ELCA only down by 46%. Congratulations. But one thing I do want to point out is Southern Baptists are on the red there, down 20.3% since 2000 as well. So there's a lot of churches in the decline right now. A lot of denominations in decline right now. Not just mainline churches, obviously the bigger drops, but it's a lot of churches are dropping right now. So denominations are down. Period. Big ones especially.
Well, okay, question. Do we know for like the Anglican Church of America and the PCA, what percentage of those were congregations that used to be a mainline one and just switched teams?
That's so fun because ACNA, I'm looking at the data and they were like small, and they grew like 25,000 in a year. And then I went and like looked it up. It's because the Episcopal Diocese of South Carolina joined the ACNA. And that added 25,000. So I think a lot of like the PCA is like all, like refugees from the PCUSA.
Mm-hmm.
And the Anglicans, if you like, you take that volatility out from that, like those mergers kind of thing, and like actual organic growth, and it's very modest. They added, I think last year they added 3,000 new members of 125,000. So 3,000 in the grand swath of American Christianity is a rounding error at the end of the day.
All right.
Now it's time to make everyone mad, right, Trip?
Okay, well, back to what I was saying earlier, Ryan.
Yeah.
Because everybody knows it's an absolute fact that if you're looking for really progressive Christians, all you got to do is go to a mainline Protestant church. Trust me, I know their ministers.
They're all over. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So let me set this up. So this is a question.
You got to describe it enough for those just listening, so they feel the lure to go check them out.
Yeah. Let me just give you some context by saying this. It is insanely hard to get data about clergy because obviously it's a weird sample, right? You got to like look out for them specifically. And God bless PRRI, Public Religion Research Institute, because they got a grant to do a survey of mainline clergy. And they looked at the seven sisters, the ones we talk about a lot. And it was done in 2022 and 2023. So this data is actually fairly recent. So I feel fairly confident that what we're seeing here it hasn't shifted a lot in the last couple of years. And here's what we find. The perception that the mainline clergy are very liberal is absolutely true. Among the evangelical Lutheran set, 60% of clergy say they're liberal. It's only 25% of the laity. In the Presbyterian Church USA, it's basically the same thing, 60 versus 25. Episcopalians, it's 60% versus 34%. United Church of Christ, your people, Trip, 71% liberal clergy, just 27. And you can see, by the way, look across all those, the laity lines.
Yeah.
It's all around 25%.
Just a quarter.
Just a quarter of the people in the pews identify as liberal. When the people in the pulpit, it's 65% in many of these denominations. There's a huge disconnect politically and by the way, this is politically liberal, ideologically liberal, not theologically liberal, between the pulpit and the pew.
Yeah. Casey on Substack says she's curious as to how many people said not liberal because they're communist or socialist. Because I know, like, I sometimes have that feeling when they're like, if you're asked, "Oh, are you a Democrat?" and you're like, "Regretfully." Yeah.
But the thing is, this is not Democrats, this is a liberal. I guess very liberal is like, I think a lot of communists would just pick very liberal and be done with it. Some of them write in, but I don't care about those people. So
what if they send you a paragraph?
I'm not going to read it.
See, that's what I have to do. I have to get you to show me a chart, and then I tell you what my paragraph would have been that you ignored.
I'm not going to read your paragraph. I'm just telling you right now. People write me stuff like I love, like I do get emails a lot, and I appreciate them, but I just don't. I can't respond to all of them, nor can I read all of them, because honestly, it's a lot of people just spilling their guts about stuff that I can't. Like, what do you want me to do? You know what I mean? In response to this, so God love you. Liberal mainline clergy, though, Trip. This is not a. I think. Well, okay. First off, it's not the liberal mainline clergy thing is I think pretty well known. But I think the idea of like the people in the pews, like mainline Protestants, the pews are super liberal is just false. It's not here. 25% of them say they're liberal. I wouldn't call that overwhelmingly liberal. I mean, there's definitely some liberal people in the mainline, but it's not the predominant loudest voice in the congregation. The average, you got to think about this. The average member of a mainline church in America today is like a 60-year-old white retired school teacher living in Minnesota.
Yeah, they are like Morning Joe Democrats.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I call them country club Republicans or Morning Joe Democrats, right? Like just one click left of center or one click right of center. They're not on the edges like the clergy are. And I can't emphasize this enough. I don't know why. Like, like this is to me, it's like, why? If you know this is true, then why are we leaning in? Why are the clergy leaning in so hard to their liberalness when this is not what the congregations want?
Because Jesus told us to, Ryan. Come on.
Yes, that's exactly right. Jesus wanted you to be a communist, is what I've been told.
No, that was the early church. Jesus.
Hey, did you see the clip of James Tallarico, the guy from Texas running for Senate? You know what I'm talking about?
You mean like his visit to the Joe Rogan podcast?
Oh, I didn't know he did that. Did he do that?
He did. Someone sent it to me. I have some people that will send me Joe Rogan episodes when they think I'll find it interesting.
I like that.
But it was funny because the friend that sent it to me, former student, was like, Oh, I think you'll really like him. He reminded me of you. And then I responded and was like, I don't know. He took APAC funding. I mean, I don't even know if he did.
He,
I
I
was
don't
just,
think he did he?
I don't know. I'm not
He-
in Texas.
all
Do
he
you think
said
there's
was,
any Democrat that could run for Senate there I wouldn't vote for against what, Ted Cruz?
yeah,
Gee,
well,
yeah.
Cancun cruise.
Cancun Cruz. Yeah.
Yeah. The numbers for the UMC are pre-disaffiliation, by the way.
So they're gonna grow up just like the rest of the mainline Protestant church.
You got it, dude. Anyway, James Talarico basically said, like, I don't think it's very Christian that we live in a country where when you get sick, you have to get medical care through GoFundMe, not through an insurance. And like, I'm like, that's probably right. You know what I mean? Like, and that makes you a liberal. I don't know what liberal is anymore, but guess what? The mainliners, they love liberal. They're very liberal.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, never mind. I'm passing on an excursus, Ryan.
I'm so proud of you, Trip.
I know because I know at some point I'll probably get triggered and rant, and then you'll say, "There's my little Bernie bro," and then I don't want to use it right now.
You're saving it up for the right time.
I'm saving it up because I know what's coming. Like this next graph.
This is Republican share. Yeah. So like there's two dimensions to, obviously there's partisanship and ideology. The last one was ideology. This is partisanship. I mean, like think about this. A majority of United Methodists identify as Republicans, not vote for 60% of United Methodists voted for Trump, but 52% say they're Republicans. Good luck finding a Republican member of the clergy in almost any. I mean, listen, in evangelical Lutherans is less than 10%, Presbyterian Church USA less than 10%, Episcopalians less than 2%. You know what's a really odd duck? A Republican member of the clergy in the United Church of Christ. 3%, Trip. 3% are Republicans. And even in, like the American Baptists throw the number out because it's small, but United Methodists, it's 19%. So even the United Methodists are not Republicans.
Oh, you know what I'm picking up from this, Ryan? That seminary professors do a better job communicating the radical call to justice of the tradition to the clergy than the clergy do to their congregation.
Why are they so bad at that, Trev? Why can't they be better in talking?
Maybe they need new preaching professors. I don't know, but I just see the theologians did a good job.
But no, here's the social science answer. People self-select into mainline seminaries because they're already social justice warriors, and they just get reinforced when they go into seminary about all the social justice things, and they come out even more strident in what they already believe.
Oh, I mean, yeah, you got to make people more confident in the truth, and then make them blind to. Anyway, I was in a text thread with. Well, I guess I probably shouldn't put names, but one of them is a dean of a mainline Protestant seminary. Other is a professor, and we're from 3 different generations. Like I'm the youngest in this text thread. It usually is about sports and venting, but one of them was talking about a conversation they were having with another staff member and said, it seems like students have changed quite a bit. Because when I went to divinity school, the Gen X member of this chat, when I went to divinity school, we went because we were wanting to learn how to be a minister, and so many of our students don't do that anymore. The old dean on there goes, "Look, since I've been doing this, we've had 3 generations of different students entering." Early on, they showed up and said, I've been called to ministry and I want to do a good job. The next one showed up and said, I got some religious baggage. I want to know if I can still be Christian. And now the new ones go, God's interesting. I wonder
what about that God thing?
God.
Imagine going to seminary with that approach. Hey, tell me more about that Jesus thing.
I've just been thinking I might believe in God. So I went to seminary.
Never read the Bible really much to speak of,
but if it's any idea. I'll at least look at the AI summary of it.
That's all you need. But I do listen, I take to task the main line in this post, which got me some blowback, but whatever. Like, would a Republican even want to go to a mainline seminary right now, or a conservative?
I don't know. I mean, it depends on if they want like robust theological education that's grounded in the larger history of the church, open to critical reflection and engaging sciences, valuing the beauty of other religious tradition, and orient the way of life in the world to the way of Jesus for the flourishing of all. But I mean, like if you just want ICE to pick up random citizens because they had the wrong skin color, leave them in detention for 4 months, and then run cover for it in your sermon, no. There you go.
Was that your rant?
No, I was just getting warmed up.
But I mean, I guess the Southern Baptists will say our seminaries do the same. Well, except the end part. Our seminaries do the same thing. Teach biblical truth and theological education, all those things. Like, it's a selection effect at this point too. People are going to mainline seminaries because they already are where they are politically, and they know they're going to get more of it when they go to seminary, and it becomes an echo chamber. I mean, if you want to really get mad at some stuff, well, at least me, maybe not you, but me, go watch the United Methodists. Like, they do that every 4 years. They have that big conference where all over the world comes, and they made every speaker at the general session mention their name, their gender, their pronouns, their country of origin, and their race. And there was someone literally keeping a tally sheet of everyone who spoke. And then the next day they would do a calculation, say, hey, man, we only had 40% women speaking on the floor yesterday. We need to make sure we do better next time. Like, that turned into a meme on social media where basically evangelicals got to make fun of the main line about.
They're like, look, first you ordain them, and then you actually let them talk at annual gatherings. What is this about?
Listen,
a slippery slope to the relativism of Eve's offspring.
My favorite part was some African bishop gets up there and goes, I'm not telling you my name or my pronouns or where I'm from. I just want to talk about the issue. And I was like, okay, sir, go ahead. Like, how'd they write that down, by the way? Did they even write that guy down? Was he in the tally sheet?
Oh, no, they wrote it down because they didn't know what to do, that they were both offended that he didn't do it, but also their white guilt made them want to recognize him in his own situatedness. And so
we're centering you right now in the discourse about settler colonialism.
Oh, man.
Are you guys Protestant, Trip?
Are you guys Protestant?
Someone just asked if we're Protestant.
Oh yeah, Protestant.
0650. I grew up Southern Baptist, got baptized in the church at 15 years old, and served in 3 American Baptist churches, and now I'm a United Methodist. I've literally been Protestant from the first breath I've ever taken.
Oh, I'm a Baptist preacher's kid, so that worked in mainline. All right, so.
Oh, hey, by gender, speaking of gender, we just talked about gender. So the sample, it was about 20% female.
Yeah, but see, you didn't tell them what the actual chart is here.
Okay.
You're acting like
podcast. I'm sorry.
The chart says the partisanship of clergy and laity in mainline traditions by gender.
Yep.
So it's showing the difference between clergy and laity in political beliefs by the men and then by the women.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I wanted, because someone said, hey, don't you think like female clergy in mainline churches are further left than male clergy in mainline church? And I was like, I don't know. Let me figure it out. And you know what the answer is, Trip? Yeah.
Isn't it true, like, generally about the nation as well? So
that's true. Yeah, there's a gender, we call it the gender gap. It's about 5 to 7 percentage points that women tend to be more democratic than men. In the mainline clergy, the gap is about 27 percentage points. So 71% of female clergy in the mainline are Democrats, and basically none are Republicans. 3% are Republicans. Among the male clergy, 44% say they're Democrats, 17% say they're Republicans, and 30% say they're independents, which I think is interesting, because I think it's a way to say, like, I don't really want to say what I actually am. I'll just say I'm independent. So
yeah. So maybe it's just the men was out. They don't
probably.
They're like, oh, I'm independent, but I'm a member of the DSA, but in my state, I vote in the Democratic primaries.
Mm-hmm.
But also have known some mainline people that are registered Republicans just to vote for the least crazy one, even though they're not going to vote for them in the regular election.
So when I was 18, they had a primary in Illinois, and they had a guy named Dennis Kucinich running for president. Remember Dennis Kucinich? He believed in aliens. He was from Ohio. and I pulled a Democratic ballot because I wanted to vote for the alien believing guy. Well, guess who handed me the ballot? It was one of the members of First Baptist Church of Illinois, a Southern Baptist church where I was born and raised. And guess what? They told my parents that I pulled a Democrat ballot for the primary, and that wasn't a fun conversation. I was like, I just voted for the weird guy because I thought he was funny, and that didn't go over well.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some comments when former youth made, what's his name? That one universal basic income guy.
Yang
Yang Gang.
Mm-hmm.
I had a former youth Yang Gang member that his parents were lecturing him in Facebook comments about supporting him because he's not a real Democrat.
Oh, Yang is a weird dude though. Like I don't even know how to place him on the spectrum because he's kind of a Democrat, but in some ways he's not. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not really into the Yang Gang or the Mayor Pete crew.
Who you like, Trip? Don't, if you say Bernie, I'm gonna hang up right now. Don't say Bernie. Bernie's like 85 years old, for God's sakes. We don't need that.
He's just now got to presidential age. Like, you could say someone like AOC, but then you're like, she's too young. You gotta at least have a set of dentures, right?
I think you got to be 55.
I don't know. How old was Obama when he came in?
In his late 40s.
Yeah, because he's like the president that I lost the least sleep over, thinking like he'll lose sleep if he has to make a decision none of us can know the information about.
Mm-hmm.
Like even, I mean, he's got plenty of letters from me complaining about his drone use program, but like I didn't think like he didn't lose sleep over it. Some of the others, I'm just like, oh. He
was 47 when he got elected.
Yeah.
That's the right number, right? By the way, for us, that's 5 years away.
We're almost old enough. That's
scary to think about.
I'll be vice president, Ryan. I don't want to have to like actually make certain decisions. I just want to be your wingman that goes out too far, be the aggressive bulldog,
That's right. Campaign. When you got to get LASIK surgery though and shave your beard.
Well, why you want a vice president that is like, they're like, oh, he reads all the briefings and lets Ryan know about it in charts. And then Ryan's like, oh, you're finally speaking my language, charts.
Another slide.
Yeah, graph right here.
Ooh. So this is a heat map trip.
Oh, yeah, it is.
And so like
wrong one. A heat map.
Oh man, come on, hit me with the good one.
Oh yeah, mainline partisanship by ideology. Heat map.
So ideology and partisanship are not the same thing because you can be like a moderate Democrat or a liberal Republican. Not there's many liberal Republicans. You get my point though. You can be, you can be lots of things. And so I think it's always good to map both of them. I'm grumpy all the time. I like to map both of them at the same time. And you can see and I did it into 2 age buckets. So 18 to 40-year-old people and then over 40-year-old people. Because I was wondering if the coming mainline clergy are even more left-leaning than the older mainline clergy. And guess what I found out? They are. Almost 60% of mainline clergy under the age of 40 call themselves liberal Democrats. Almost 60%. Among laity in that same age bucket, it's only 32%. So the clergy, young clergy, are twice as liberal as young laity are in the main line. So, and actually, what's funny is it's a 2-to-1 ratio for older and younger. It just so happens the older people are slightly less liberal across the board than the younger people are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I mean, that's almost our age breakdown, right? Like we're right in the middle between those two.
Yep.
And I think it's because everyone younger than us, 9/11 was in high school.
Yep.
So all of those, you're discovering your faith and your politics after you get out of the home are while the Republican Party is going like making junk up to go to war, Islamophobic, into the Tea Party, into Trump, all that kind of stuff. It's like if you're still like down for the Lord, serving in a church, doing undergrad, divinity school, all that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what are you going to hear? Like the interesting part would, if you just had like a 9/11 truther question as well.
Oh,
because see that I think skews older. Because,
Yeah.
but mainline clergy, there's nothing quite like the number of them that will like their favorite conspiracy theories, 9/11 truther stuff.
Hey, think about this, Trip. 5% of young mainline clergy are conservative Republicans.
Yeah, you want to know what percentage of them are part of the queer community?
I don't know. Is there a lot of young Republicans?
No, I'm just guessing like why you would say you're a UCC.
Oh, yeah.
You're a UCC minister, but you're a conservative Republican. It's probably because you got a partner and that's the only church that'll take you. And that's like the secret way in a mainline congregation of like being a Republican, but being fully embraced.
Yeah, that's right. No, what's the whole line? If you're a failed academic, you can become an Episcopal priest pretty easy.
Because you already got a robe.
You already got a robe. You got the credentials. They love credentials in the Episcopal church. So
you just got to add a stole onto your hood.
Yeah, you're good. But think about this. So among the young laity, 29% are conservative Republicans. Among the young clergy, 5% are conservative Republicans. Among the older set, almost 40% of older mainline Protestants are conservative Republicans. It's only 13% of the clergy in that same age category. So 3 times more in the pews than in the pulpit. I mean, the gap is humongous here. And I don't know if the answer to the question, should your clergy look like your laity? I don't know what the answer is, but I don't think this is the answer. Like when there's this big of a divide between the two things, either direction I think is problematic for all kinds of reasons.
Okay, so here I have a thought about this. I've been thinking about. Charles Taylor has like these 3 big concepts running through kind of the reshaping of modernity in the secular age, and one of the features that he kind of tracks is like how does the changes through modernity and its stages change the way people have strong takes, and by that he just means like a conviction that will orient your life.
Yeah,
right, and the one of the things that you see here, especially as mainline Protestantism is no longer culture dominant, so it doesn't have all the social incentives of becoming clergy. Then you need to belong to a group that, being progressive, a mainline Protestant clergy has some, like, who is it that gets some social affirmation out of it? It's going to be like the ones whose like deep political convictions and things resonate with their faith. And that mainline Protestants will have people that are in the church and they participate-ish and are all there and stuff, but their faith expression's not the strong take of their existence. They aren't like wagering their life on being a moderate Republican.
Yes, I agree. Yes, I agree. Yeah.
And or maybe their moderate Republicanness is much more significant to them than that they go to an Episcopal church or a Methodist church. They're just like kind of going to that church, and it's fine as long as it's not obnoxiously progressive at the wrong time. And they only come twice a month, and they don't go to the Bible study, so they don't going to hear when you actually exegete or whatever.
Yeah.
And so, to me, like part of the thing, once a vocation's no longer either has financial incentives or social capital, they rework. And I can't remember who it was that tracked how different vocations have changed over time. Like which ones changed when it became a female dominant industry, or which ones came when they were no longer white dominant, like what's the social prestige and financial outcome. And clergy, like if we were 30 years older and had our education, extrovert, preaching energy and blah, 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 like we would have a lot higher social cred, and the advancement and what we got paid as mainline clergy and our future and influence and talent would be much bigger. Like, and that strong take bit and the social bit, those were 2 features. You'd sent these to me. I was rereading some Taylor stuff for a class next semester I'm teaching. What do you think?
No, the one thing I'll lay on top of this though is I think that theology folks way overestimate the share of Americans who are completely guided or have a very coherent set of beliefs that guide them through life. Like we want to believe that like, oh, we're teaching this orthodox belief and the people in the pews are receiving the orthodox belief and sort of making that happen in their lives. Well, guess what? The data says that that's not actually what happens at all. Very few people actually believe like even so there's something called the Ligonier Institute. They do what's called a state of theology survey every year, and they ask like evangelicals questions about like, is Jesus the only way to heaven? And a significant number of evangelicals say no. Like the idea that lots of people have a very coherent theological understanding of the world is vastly overestimated, I think, by people in the clergy. Most of us, not to use a Christian Smith phrase, but like the moral therapeutic deism is really truly how most people get through life. Like God is generally hands off, but you can pray to him and it'll make you feel better. And really whatever theology makes sense to you is what makes, is actually true. We're compromisers. We try to find middle ground on things. And that's like whenever, like, this is a question I think should haunt my evangelical and Catholic friends. For many of them, they think the idea that sperm plus egg equal human, then abortion is murder, is self-evident. Like, how could you not understand how basic that is? And yet they've been preaching that for 50 years now, and the share of Americans who believe that has gone down over the last 50 years. So, like, if that message is so compelling to you as an individual, either you're really bad at communicating that to other people, or you're a weirdo. Like, psychologically, you're set up in a way that other people are not set up in that same way. And so why have you not been able to convince literally anyone in the aggregate that your view is right? And I think the answer is because people do not have coherent boxes in their mind that they slide things through. They just make stuff up as they go along. And it's really not the belief thing as much as people say it is, I suppose.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, that's the experience as someone who, professionalizes and thinking systematically. And because they thought that's just obviously how people would do it, managed to have PhD in philosophy and religion and a postdoc in science, philosophy and religion, and then has an ongoing internally consistent system in which he modifies it on a regular basis based on evidence with a plausibility scale of different commitments. I'll just say that if you raise conversations, even at a congregational level, about being internally consistent to our values, they just look at you like, why? I don't get it. Why is that a big deal? And, they just think you're odd.
Because you are odd.
No, well, you don't have to explain that to me. I've been discovering this for most of my life, Ryan. Yeah. But like the funniest part though, or to me, or when you're explaining it to someone, like you're in a meeting, like we had this whole ordeal, like, oh, we're doing our church revisioning thing, right? And the wrong people on church council have critical mass and are suggesting something that's just like counter to the church's foundational documents and unique things to our denomination. And you're just like, look, I understand finding that compelling. I'm just like, you're in the wrong church for that. Like, we differentiated ourselves historically over this issue.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it just seems right. But for what reason? I don't know.
The vibes, dude.
Yeah. And you're like, but that's not how you make, like, theoretically, Christians, and why we differ and why we differ in our denominations, because different communities came to think they were embodying a faithful response to God's self-revelation in the history of Israel and the person of Jesus, and it took these different expressions. And so if we were changing it, we would want to think, oh, we're cohering with a more faithful interpretation of God's self-testimony, not like honestly saying, we just would like to project this on God and pretend we all agree on it, and therefore it must be true.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like that there's nothing inherently Protestant about it seems nice. I'm not saying we don't do that on a lot of unexamined questions.
Yeah.
And then discover it maybe when a kid asks us a question we never thought of, or something happens in the world and it problematizes your picture. Like, yeah, we all have this problem. I'm just saying our Protestant MO is God told us who God was in Christ, and Jesus called us to be disciples. And so we kind of got to work out of there. And I'm like trying to explain this in the most clear, simple way. And one of the other ministers says, yeah, I'm just going to have to shut this down. We're not going to do that, or all the clergy are leaving. And if you really want to talk about it later, We can, but not at the meeting. This old guy, been at the church 20 some years,
Yeah,
gives a speech, and they look at him like, oh, no, that's fine. We just thought it was cool. And then,
all right, cool.
2 months later, they're presenting to the church what we came up with, where half of it is opposite of what they wanted, but they're happy with that because this is what we agreed to. Oh,
There's
anyway.
this concept in social science called satisficing. It's like satisfying and sufficing put together.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's the good enough answer, right? Like, and I think that's what because we don't. The theory is under rational choice, and I don't want to go on the whole like rational choice. Is the idea you can make a perfectly like you're a utility maximizer in every situation, so you always look for the best benefit for the least cost. We don't really do that. We basically figure out what's the easiest thing to do to get a little more benefit and a little less cost, and then just do that. Guess what? That's how people get through life. They just satisfy over and over again. They make the easy decision that makes their life a little bit easier, and they just walk away from it. They don't sit here and think about, like, what would Jesus do about artificial intelligence or in vitro fertilization or the problem of immigration? Like, they don't think about that stuff. And by the way, great quote in the New York Times last week. They're asking people what they thought about the Venezuelan boat situation, the war crime.
Yeah.
Air quotes, the war crime. And one lady said it was justified because sometimes you have to do bad things for good reasons, like in the Bible when Jesus healed someone on the Sabbath. That was her moral equivalency to killing two people hanging on the wreckage of a boat.
Let's just hope that she was having a really bad day, was reaching for something, and thought, if I add Jesus to it, it'll be good. And that's what came out. Because you know that scene in Billy Madison where he gives that answer, and then the guy that's like judging because he has to get certain grade to pass the test,
yes,
and he's like,
this is the waste of my time.
Yeah, and we're all dumber for having heard it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what's there. From the Facebook chat, Myron Penner, cognitive scientist, philosopher of science, does cognitive science of religion. He says CSR calls that theological disconnect theological incorrectness, defaulting to intuitive cognition instead of psychologically hard to maintain theologically correct doctrines.
Well,
there you go. Hold on.
What's CSR?
Cognitive science of religion.
Oh, I'm not in on your little games here, people.
Sorry. Cognitive science of religion is really cool because, well, one, like religion evolves way before any forms of the religion we have currently. They're primarily like big gods, morals, beliefs.
Yeah.
Religion emerges rather quickly in humans, initially in more like shamanic trances, bonding rituals, music, dance, and stuff, even before we have language or script or text and these kinds of things. And when you start to see like some of the earliest kind of forms of like what we would identify as culture, religion's often the first thing we invest in, create something permanent, like a gathering spot because we're still moving around, or funeral, or like spaces of the dead. Like, so there's this whole like thing that's sitting there and trying to understand religion, its role in human evolution and its story. Then you start to ask yourself, like, how did it emerge? And then there are all these cognitive mechanisms that cognitive science has like identified in human beings cross cultures, which means like these are kind of like the these cognitive mechanisms that are like part of our biological givens, and then they take different shapes and orientations, right, in different cultures and times. So like, what are these cognitive mechanisms that then kind of get strapped on to, and religion ends up developing out of it? Like theory of mind. Every kid learns to develop a theory of mind, not just like you differentiate yourself from your parents. You start to think like other people that have minds like me, and they're different than me. And now I'm trying to learn, how do I please my mom? I got to be thinking what my mom's thinking. Theory of mind. You connect that with, say, hyper agency detection device. This sense that we selected as a species for intuiting agency in things in the world, and we do it hyperactively. Why? If you dodge every rustling in the bush because you think it's a tiger, you have more kids than the dude that only does it a third of the time, right? And so you take that. I mean, anyway, there's all these little cognitive mechanisms that are just kind of given to being human. They take this expression early on in human species. It generates the nature of religion. And now those mechanisms, our biological inheritance is still the same. That doesn't evolve nearly as fast. Culture evolves much more quickly. But understanding the mechanisms can then help you understand the dynamics of religion for both the individual and in the communal context. And one of those features that I think Myron was talking about, and he's probably going to send me a thing telling me that was a mediocre shorthand and you got this wrong. But like theological incorrectness, where there's a sense of like you are in your group, you all share values in common, so you assume a lot more sameness, and then you kind of had this intuitive thing that you're like, oh, our tribe, we have this belief, and then you're like, but why? Well, no, but it doesn't cohere with this. I don't know.
Mhm.
But there's this you have different logics and reasonings are sitting there. Anyway, sorry. There's whole episodes on it of people that invented the field. You can go Robert McCauley episode on Homebrewed, great. Myron's been on talking about it. There's anyway.
There reminds in Christian Smith, who came on the pod, right? Christian
Oh
Smith, yeah. Like he tried to like track the zeitgeist. He tried to measure the zeitgeist, and that feels kind of like the same thing, right? It's like, how does culture move? We don't fully understand like why things get cool and then why they're not cool anymore. Like why we want to talk about certain ideas and then they go away. Like this is the hard part when it comes to like being a social scientist, though, is like there's certain things that are unmeasurable. And Christian Smith gets mad at me because he says I believe if I can't measure it, it doesn't exist, which he's not wrong on, by the way. I think you should be able to measure pretty much everything. But the zeitgeist lives in a way where you can't measure it. You can't predict. Like revival only makes sense in reverse. Like Søren Kierkegaard said that, by the way. We have to live life forward, but it only makes sense in reverse. Like that's the way that religion works a lot in my life. Not my life, in the American life. Like I can look back on it and go, of course that was what was going to happen to American religion. But at the time, I can't make any sense of it because it's like trying to like grab the zeitgeist is freaking impossible,
Okay, so we got one more. We got one more.
I can't remember what it was. Hit me with it.
Or it's going to be a blank screen.
Is it going to be a blank screen?
Oh,
no. This is without the age factor. So you can just see like straight up clergy versus laity. This is the 3x3 box. So partisanship on one axis, ideology on the other axis, and really the bottom left and the top right are where all the action is that you really want to take.
The action.
The bottom left is liberal Democrats. Among clergy, 45% of clergy are liberal Democrats. Among laity, it's 24%. So basically 2-1 on the liberal Democrat side. On the conservative Republican side, 12% of all mainline clergy are conservative Republicans. Among laity, it's 37%. So laity are 3 times more likely to be conservative Republicans than the clergy that are leading them every Sunday.
Okay, and this is just my guess, but I'm going to guess the liberal independents are left of the liberal Democrats.
I think you're probably correct. But I think if you look at the independents and the moderates on the laity side, I bet you a lot of them are actually Republicans.
No, I mean, no, that makes sense. Like, yeah, I'm thinking, Ryan, I have an ongoing relationship with large numbers of mainline clergy, and there's quite a few that get triggered by being called a Democrat. But you're like, well, if leftist isn't an option, I could pick liberal. But
if you pick independent, basically what you're saying is you're actually further left than liberal.
Yeah,
I get it. That makes sense. But even that makes it worse in some ways, Trim, because now you're at 56%, clearly left of center.
Yeah, because there's not a whole lot of left independence in that laity box.
There's no, liberal independence is 0%. 0%. You do see a nice number of moderate Republicans. Those are like I call them like the country club Republicans, which actually what I think is like the main line typically is country club Republicans. That's 11% there. And then 17% say they're moderate Democrats, which I think those would be like the old school, like Bill Clinton Democrats is what I would guess. So
I got so yesterday I did a Substack post talking about this and my random thoughts when I was looking at this to, prime the pump of sorts. And some of the messages I got back are hilarious. Where someone was like, about this one in particular, something, they're like, oh yeah, Ryan shared, I guess it was this. And it made me think of how much less tension's been in my church ever since Trump, because all the country club Republicans pulled a Cheney and switched teams. And they were like, that was our right wing. And so they they switched teams, and he said that he hadn't had his church all vote for the same political candidate in years. He's like, I didn't know one. And before, it was usually this awkward thing where a third of the congregation was voting for Mitt Romney, and then a week after, you're like, who's going to be uncomfortable coming? He's like, this time.
We're all comfortable now. Thanks, Trump.
He brought the mainline moderates together with their DSA clergymen.
Hey, we can disagree on like taxation rates and universal health care, but we can all agree that Donald Trump sucks. Thank you.
You know what we want? Not to bomb people illegally.
Not to commit war crimes. Is that what you're trying to say? Right
We're against war crimes.
That's a great campaign slogan, by the way. We're against war crimes. That's it. Like, that's the number one slogan you've got.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I'm talking about.
By the way, can I answer Dave's question about how much of that's because liberals left?
Yeah.
The answer is some of it for sure.
But the question is, how much of this, the partisanship divide, is due to liberal or left-leaning folks leaving church altogether?
Yeah, I think it's partly leaving, but partly just like older mainliners died. To be honest with you, it's both and. The mainline has always had a retention problem, like we talked about before. They're keeping 60% of their young people, and the evangelicals are keeping 75 to 80% of their young people. And it's like, well, who would self-select out of the mainline? You know, I think the answer now, I think a lot of young people, did you know, here's a fun fact, among young people, young white people, which would be like the next generation of the mainline.
Yeah.
If you're very liberal, 70% chance you're non-religious now. So like they're not sticking around in these mainline churches because they see Christianity in America as inherently conservative, because evangelicals, and Catholics dominate the conversation.
If it counts as conservative.
Well, you know what I mean. Like
war crime conservative.
Well,
not normal conservative.
These are our delineating factors. Are you talking about war crime conservatives or just like George W. Bush compassionate conservative types? Because they're not the same thing. Although Bush probably committed war crimes too, but no one wants to hear that. Actually, Dick Cheney did.
Yeah, I was about to say he didn't know he was.
I feel like you should know if you're committing a war crime or not, don't you think?
Oh, Dick said the lawyers looked at it. It's just called enhanced interrogations.
Did you know that he did not have a heartbeat? He had a fake heart put in his chest like in 15 years ago, and it worked for him really well. He literally had no pulse at the end of his life before he died, the last 10 years of his life, which the jokes just write themselves, don't they, Trip?
Oh, yeah, it is.
Anyway, so I do think part of it is that older mainliners just died, and that shifted. And by the way, I do think that the mainline clergy did not old mainline clergy are not super liberal. Like I mean like the ones who already died, like the ones who trained up in the 50s and 60s. They weren't trained up the same way as this most recent batch of mainline clergy is. And also, you know this better than I do, Trip. These mainline seminaries are struggle bus right now. Like they can't give seats away to people who want to become mainline pastors, because a lot of young people, if you're a pastor, you're almost always a conservative, because that's just what young people think religion is now. So mainline seminaries are in a lot of trouble on a bunch of fronts. And you want to talk about one of the worst jobs in America? Being a president of a mainline seminary that does not have a huge endowment is going to be tough over the next 20 years.
Yeah. The, maybe like win the lottery, Ryan, now that everyone's starting to gamble, like who needs to go to church when you can gamble on your phone on Sunday mornings?
Do you see the Derek Thompson thing? Like young people are a bunch of monks in casinos.
No,
it's a really interesting, it's called Monks in a Casino. And it's basically like the idea of young people are not social at all, but they can like gamble on Bitcoin and meme coins and in baseball and all on their phones. Like it's all like this digital gambling thing. And it's like, that's not entirely wrong, man, especially young men. Like they're not drinking. Alcohol rates in America have dropped precipitously. Drugs are not that high. People aren't having sex anymore. They're just literally looking at their phones and gambling on meme coins. It's a weird world we live in.
I feel like we're going to get to a point, right, where the like reclaiming masculinity energy in the right-wing church is like, oh, we need to bring back drinking behind buildings, sneaking off to fool around with your significant other, and everyone should smoke a cigarette or two on the weekend.
Hey,
You know,
this
they're
keg in
like,
a cornfield sponsored by
we need
St.
our
Paul's Episcopal Church.
we need some stuff to complain about. What are you going to confess your sins on? If you aren't drinking, smoking, and banging, we're going to have to admit other sins that Jesus condemns. And, being a selfish, filthy, rich person can't add that one. Not going to add gluttony, sloth to the list. Like,
nope.
What do you expect us to do? Read the Sermon on the Mount to find things to work on? We need our youth breaking rules and feeling guilty about it.
Kids these days, except they're not kids these days anymore. What are we yelling at? Old man yells at cloud. These kids they're not doing anything.
You need to get off the roadblocks and have a friend that sells drugs.
That's right. You take a rip off a bong, put down the meme coins, and pick up the joints.
Yeah, that's what right here. Ryan Burge, new job. What's your new job?
Convincing young people to start smoking Marlboros again.
No, I was going to get you to say something about your new position right after you said everyone needs to do drugs.
Oh God, no! Wash, you would get rid of me.
It was a joke.
Thank you. Allegedly. Oh, by the way, I have read Christian Smith's book, Why Religion Went Obsolete. I actually wrote a review of it in Christianity Today, where I generally praised it, but I thought his ability to measure concepts is not nearly as good as I want him to be to make the argument that he made.
But which is good for everyone to know, because this is probably more of a Christian Century audience. And so since it was in Christianity.
I've never published a single thing in the Christian Century.
Everyone has goals in life.
That ain't it.
You want to know the only thing of mine that's been in the Christian Century was a parody divinity school application for a liberal divinity school.
Did you use the word like settler colonialism in there?
I wrote it back in like my 07 or something.
Oh.
And so it was more edgy for then than it is now.
Now it reads kind of like anachronistic, a different time.
Well, now it might actually be now it might be a little too accurate.
Oof, too on the nose. You can't. Here's the thing, Trip. We all know that the main line butters your bread, so you gotta keep them happy now.
I'm ready for them to butter some bread. I don't.
No butters my bread. Nobody at this point.
Look. If somebody wants to give me benefits, I'll do a lot of things. Until then, I'm just sitting here going, I love being a small business owner and getting my first house after I turn 40, have a small business and a small family, and then Trump raises my health insurance 317% and doubles my student loans next year. So thanks, Trump. It's big and beautiful.
You didn't vote for him anyway.
No, but 30% of the people at my church did. Oh, look at that callback.
Trip, when's the last time you went to church? Real talk. Last time you went to church?
Wednesday.
Dang, dude. Wednesday. You go in the midweek?
Dude, I'm a Wednesday fundamentalist.
You go Wednesday only or Sunday and Wednesday?
Well, I almost always go on Wednesday. Sunday's flexible because all the kids all do all the youth stuff at night. And then I'm like, sometimes I just go to Sunday school and then go home and watch a service while I smoke a cigar on my computer. But Wednesday, I love Wednesday the best.
What church? What denomination?
It's like a progressive Baptist church. It's like, CBF and Alliance.
Okay. That's mainline in the neighborhood of. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's very much like it's a Southern mainline church. And I never miss Theo's fried chicken night. Whenever the fried chicken church. Oh, every Wednesday night it's a meal, dude.
That's why you go Wednesday nights, huh? Because it's free food.
I don't have to cook. There's entertaining things that happen. Like this Wednesday was different. We didn't split up in our groups.
Yeah.
Like age groups or class groups and stuff. Mm-hmm. We had a meal. Everyone brought their family's favorite Christmas dessert for the dessert part. And then we did like the first 30 minutes, kids pick Christmas songs and they went and practiced their Christmas thing. While then the adults picked their favorite Christmas hymns.
Mm-hmm.
The only disappointing part was our Baptist hymnal didn't have verse 3 of "O Holy Night" in it. And I'm
Wait,
like,
what's that one? What's giving me the gist?
truly, he taught us to love one another. His
Oh, that's a
gospel.
great. Yeah, that's a great
Yeah,
one.
it's like literally the greatest Christmas hymn and the most amazing verse. "O Holy Night." And I actually said this because when people were picking, and they were just doing like one verse, right? Unless it's super short.
Mm-hmm.
And then someone had picked "O Holy Night," and then they came over to me, our side of the room, and no one was raising their hand to pick one. And I said, "Hey, can I pick "O Holy Night"? But we sing one of the other verses because they get better every verse. And she was like, "All right, let's do the next verse." I was like, "Well, we don't even have verse 3." And one of the ministers, I'm sure people hate having me as just like a regular attender with my commentary. Worse if I show up in your Bible class. And I go, "But come on, verse 3. That is the single best Christmas hymn verse. It captures that the moment of incarnation is, in fact, God universally reconciling God's self to all creation, transforming the future of each living thing into the divine life." Come on. You got to have that stuff. And this old guy behind me leans over and he goes, "That's my favorite verse too." And I was like, I feel
Let's
seen.
go.
I feel seen. Okay, you wanna hear some of my liberal divinity school application?
What year is this from?
08.
Go ahead. I'm listening.
All right. Okay, let's see. Beginning, blah, 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 blah. When it goes to what degree you're applying for, you have to check a box of what kind of indoctrination you want. Personal information, imposed name, patriarchal name, real name. Are you a citizen of the American Empire? Why? Where the federals deliver your documents. Institutions of past indoctrination or liberation. And this is where you put your other schools. Did you get a degree? Was it meaningful? List all the good you did, including marches, protest speeches, and sticking it to the man. Ever suspended, dismissed, or arrested? Yes, hell yes, not yet are the options. List all other schools which you passed on your pilgrimage to your true self. Specialized training or skills, especially in useful areas, organic horticulture, interpretive dance, deconstruction of meta-narratives, making tea, guitar, etc.
Not like how it's making tea right after deconstructing meta-narratives. That's
Perceived
so on brand.
experiences of what some call work. What did you do? Who paid the bills? How did this make the world a better place? How did you grow as a person? Meaningful relationships? Please provide a journal or artistic expression of your engagement in the world.
I need you to do a bricolage about how you feel when you're 18.
Demographic information, so the government knows how much money to give you. My ancestors were oppressed by Europeans by 1, being taken into slavery, 2, Spanish colonization of the New World, 3, colonization of Asia, 4, conquest of Pacific Islands, English colonization of the New World, economic exploitation of globalization, or I have benefited from all the exploitation of the other peoples, aka I'm white but overcoming.
I'm part of the struggle now. Hey, I knew settler colonialism would show up, and there it is right there.
Oh, but here's what made me think of it. You can imagine all the boxes for gender.
Yeah.
Political affiliation, Democratic Party, Green Party, Freedom Socialist Party, Labor Party, Peace and Freedom Party, Democratic Socialist Party. Like it goes through all of them. No Republicans.
No Republican option at all. Yeah. Yeah.
Involvement in church, spiritual, not religious. Worship the goddess within. Worship the earth. Old line liberal. Evangelical. I like the music in the gym. Episcopal.
I got Episcopal's its own category.
Yes. What
like
else
UCC doesn't get its own category.
What else would you like to share with us? Did you violate any arbitrary norms of the bourgeois society and experience confinement? Are you likely to? Are you sure? Will you be cool dealing with folks who aren't like you? Do the authorities have records of your perceived misdeeds? Please provide us with names of people who will write a letter telling us how wonderful you are, even though we all know it's propaganda.
I'm surprised they published this.
I certify that all information provided on this application, any attached paperwork, and the attached essays are accurate and truthful, even though we all know that truth is a relative term that supports the entrenched power of elite institutions and contributes to the oppression of peoples everywhere.
Trip, this is a masterpiece. I'm not gonna lie to you. This is like Saturday Night Live level, but it only works on like 10% of the population who would get these jokes. That's the problem. You know what I mean? Wow. I like how it's imposed name.
Oh, yeah. There you go. That was I haven't got a job at admissions at a divinity school yet, but.
You think that ever happened? Like where you applied to a div job and they looked that up and were like, nope, not this guy.
They're like, look, he was in the Christian Century. The funny part was this was like at the time, where blogging was cool and they were like cool stuff from blogs. So they pull it out, put it up there, but they didn't put that I did it.
Oh, that's annoying.
I know. I was so mad. I was like, I'm in the Christian Century and they didn't even get my name on it.
That seems like that's a crime. They're criming right now. They're stealing your intellectual property.
Yeah. Yeah. It's okay. I've survived.
I mean,
I survived the struggle.
The struggle.
All right.
Trip. Let's talk about the class. You can register for when are you going to drop the link for the class?
I already did.
You dropped the link for the class.
But I'll have to do it again. I'll do it again.
Drop the link for the class. It's me and Tony Jones. Trip's going to be there. We got some special guests. They're going to be great. Four sessions. Lots of graphs. Lots of talk about the nuns. A new way to categorize the nuns. Should be really good. I'm excited to do it. Never done this before, but I mean, cool. Should be cool. And yeah. One more thing. I've got a book coming out in a month. Actually, a month from tomorrow, called The Vanishing Church: How the Hollowing Out of Moderate Congregations Hurts Democracy, Faith in Us.
Mm-hmm.
You can pre-order on Amazon, Brazos. Let's go, get you a copy, tell your friends.
What?
Actually, I make the argument for like the value of the main line in a functioning democracy. So, the people who are mad at us right now should be happy with that book because it actually makes the main line seem pretty cool. Well, even though it's old.
I know your publisher's sending me one. So after I get it, then we can talk about it on the podcast.
Yep. Brazos is the one. And like I said, ebook. Audiobook's coming out too. I did not read the audiobook. They asked me to, and I said, absolutely not. I got things to do with my life. So I don't want to read what I wrote because the whole time I just figure out how dumb I am. You'll
start editing it.
Yeah, like, that sentence sucks. Like, let me redo that. Well, too late now. You got to read the book the way it's written. So anyway, that's next on the agenda. And then obviously my Substack is Graphs About Religion. You can sign up there. I got free tier and paid tier. And Trip has a Substack. Tell us about it, Trip.
Oh yeah, process this. Come on. Process this Substack. I'm trying to get cool like Ryan. And Ryan, you and Diana were like, come on. You got to come on Substack. And it's going good. It's going good.
Are you glad you moved to Substack?
Yeah. Yeah. The publisher is Brazos.
Brazos is my publisher and then I have a 2-book deal with Zondervan for a book in 2027, a book in 2029. This should be really good too, but I haven't even started writing the book that's coming out in 2027 yet. So I should probably get to that at some point in my life.
Good idea.
Yep.
Well, I'm going to go drive some teenagers to the state football championship because the high school's in it.
Your son's not playing football, right?
No, just cheering.
Because you're a good liberal, and liberals don't let their kids play football.
I think a lot of people, if their kid was always in the smaller quarter of the population, would encourage him to invest his energies elsewhere. Like building Lord of the Rings Legos.
Now that sounds like fun.
Yeah, no injuries there.
Death Star Lego is $100 or $1,000.
I know. I've felt the temptation.
Don't do it.
I've thought about ordering the imitation version from China.
Yeah.
Because it's only like 300.
Yeah.
And they just steal stuff anyway, so it's bound to be almost exactly alike.
And Lego's really the evil empire at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's all blocks. Tries to force you into matching people's form. Doesn't happen at liberal divinity schools. No squares allowed.
What's your imposed name?
Oh, yeah. All righty. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out. Thank you, Ryan. We'll see you all for the class, The Rise of the Nuns.